I want to preface this review by saying that it comes from a good place. While I have infamously on this channel been a very harsh critic of the Jurassic franchise, greatly questioning its necessity beyond a single film, I'm not going to lie. I was actually kind of looking forward to this movie. The marketing was pushing the notion that this film would finally be the Jurassic sequel that would recapture some of the magic of the original film, balancing out the spectacular dinosaur action with an engaging, thoughtful science fiction story. And if there was one thing that really made me faithful towards this movie, it was hiring Gareth Edwards as the director. While yes, there are undeniably better filmmakers working today, I'd struggle to think of many whose skills would be better suited to directing a Jurassic World film than Edwards himself. Gareth Edwards' filmography consists of an array of beautifully shot, thoughtful science fictions. Exploding onto the scene with the independent British sci-fi film Monsters, Edwards was given the chance to make a Godzilla film, but instead of taking the standard approach of just making a film with entertaining Godzilla action as the priority, Edwards counterbalanced this, placing the action secondary to exploring a set of complex human characters and how Godzilla was affecting their lives on a personal level. He then came back with what I believe to be his best movie by far, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, a film that gave us a series of rebellious characters within the rebellion working together to try and achieve the Rebel Alliance's first victory against the Empire, being a highly personal Star Wars adventure and consisting of what is arguably the most thrilling third act climax in the entire Star Wars saga, only to be rivaled by Vader's confrontation with Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. After that, he released what is arguably his most personal and ambitious film to date, The Creator. A highly underrated science fiction film, one of the best looking films ever to be shot with a budget of only $80 million, exploring intricate human themes, providing timely, fascinating ethical questions over the usage of AI and the concept of creation. You see why this guy would be the perfect filmmaker to direct a Jurassic World movie? Maybe I was too naive. At the end of the day, Edwards is not viewed by everyone as a cinematic visionary. Many just view him as a budget-efficient filmmaker, able of creating beautiful shots, but not as someone who has a unique directorial vision worth preserving under the studio system. And I think the sad reality is that Universal viewed him just like this. As a result, Edwards has been given a paper-thin screenplay to work with, and his impressive direction just isn't enough to save the script. Jurassic World Rebirth, as it's been released, is nothing but a piece of junk. Let me explain. Hi all, I'm the Grinning Critic and I love talking about movies with a grin. Unfortunately today though, I can't be talking about Jurassic World Rebirth with a grin on my face, as this movie sucks and heavily disappointed me. Now I think the problem that these Jurassic World movies face is that their reason to exist is kind of unnecessary, and it's clear that public interest is being increasingly lost in these movies. While yes, Jurassic World Rebirth was undeniably a profitable film, it's worth noting that since the franchise was rebooted in 2015, every progressive installment has made considerably less money. I'm aware that there are people who get enjoyment out of these movies, and to each their own I say, but I feel as though the vast majority of moviegoers are getting kind of sick of seeing the same movie every single time. As I had mentioned earlier, the marketing department at Universal was clearly aware of this, and thus they decided to give this movie the subtitle Rebirth, and they just made a Jurassic movie exactly like the ones that had came before. The plot line is the same. The musical score, while yes, is one of the all-time greats from the original, and it still gives me the chills whenever I listen to it, is the same. The characters all feel somewhat derivative of others within the franchise, and even the third act climax sequence involving a dinosaur feels almost a direct carbon copy of the original film. Only because it's a copy, it's worse. As well as the tedious execution of these retreads, which become more frustrating which become more frustrating the further you progress, the film is somewhat of a chore to watch. We just watch characters sitting around talking in different locations being delivered in the most phoned-in performances imaginable from a cast of such proven talented A-listers. There is no sense of urgency or tension within these conversations, leading to them feeling meaningless, even though they were done as a means of necessity in achieving story progression. Beyond this, the characters are severely underdeveloped and really uninteresting. I would struggle to tell you the names of most of the characters, let alone anything about them beyond what they look like, and I think this speaks to how disinteresting the script is. While there is undeniably an attempt to try and flesh out a couple of these characters, most evidently Scarlett Johansson's Zora, giving her a tragic backstory and having her join this expedition as a means to prevent other people from facing the same unfortunate fate that her own mother faced, they largely fall flat due to the shallowness of the on-screen portrayals of the personas. Now, as for the Dino action, as I imagine that is the real reason as to why a large number of people are even showing up to this movie, it's solid. It's nothing mind-blowing or super inventive, but it's thrilling, well-crafted summer popcorn blockbuster fun. The dinosaur designs themselves, however, that's a bit of a mixed bag. There are some dinosaur designs that I thought were really solid, being very well rendered, but there was one major dinosaur that was central to the movie's plot, and his design was horrific. Beneath the confines of this incomprehensible film, there is still some evidence of Gareth Edwards' signature trademark, however slim they may be. The film is beautifully shot like all of Edwards' movies, with vibrant and effective lighting choices to immerse the viewer into the wilderness setting that this movie takes place in. The cinematography is on point, enhancing this layer of depth. Although this does come as a caveat in a couple of shots, where the green screen was so obviously used, as evidenced through the disconnect of the actors and the surrounding environment, in shots that the studio was trying to do quickly as opposed to effectively. In conclusion, Jurassic World Rebirth is the prime example of what happens when a studio thinks that they made the right decision simply by hiring the right director for the job, but they didn't grant the director any of the freedoms that they needed to create what would make this film the one the studio thinks they have made. I'm going to give Jurassic World Rebirth a C-. Anyway, thank you so much for watching me, and I'm the Grinning Critic, and don't forget to subscribe to me. It'll make me grin again, that's for sure.